The rain had stopped, but the smell of wet streets lingered like a quiet secret between us. The city lights shimmered across the puddles, and I could still hear Lena's laughter echoing through the night. "I can't believe you planned all this," she said, her breath forming little clouds in the cold air. I smiled, nervous and excited. "You said you loved surprises?" "I didn't think you'd go this far," she teased, her voice soft, warm. Dinner on a rooftop, the view, the music. "Ethan Blake, are you trying to set new standards for men everywhere?" "Maybe I'm just trying to keep you," I said, half joking, half serious. She stopped walking. "Keep me?" I turned to face her. "Yeah, forever if I can." The wind brushed her hair across her face, and I remember thinking there would never be anyone else. I took the ring from my pocket, my hand trembling. Her eyes widened. "Ethan." "What are you, Lena Carter?" I said, my voice barely steady. "I've built buildings, drafted dreams, and designed skylines. But you're the only thing that ever felt real. Will you marry me?" For a moment, the city went silent. Then she covered her mouth, tears glistening. "You idiot," she whispered, laughing through them. "Of course I will." I slipped the ring onto her finger. It fit perfectly. She threw her arms around me, and the sound of her heartbeat became the loudest thing in the world. That night, I believed in forever. Now I can't look at that ring without feeling sick. It lies on my desk beside a pile of unpaid bills and empty coffee cups. I stare at it until my eyes blur. The city outside hasn't changed, but I have. I whisper to myself, "You really thought love was enough, didn't you?" The phone buzzes beside me, slicing through the silence. Adrian. I hesitate before answering. "Yeah, Ethan, you at the office?" His voice is calm, casual, too casual. "No, just home." "Good," he says. "Listen, about tomorrow's meeting, stop pretending, Adrian." I cut him off. "You only call when you want something." As a pause. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means I know how you operate. Don't act innocent." He chuckles lightly, the same fake laugh he uses in boardrooms. "You sound paranoid, man. You need rest." I press my hand against my temple. "Don't tell me what I need." "All right," he says coolly. "Then take care of yourself. We'll talk tomorrow." The line goes dead. I stare at the phone, jaw tight. His voice still crawls under my skin the way it did when we first met in college, when I thought we'd build everything together. Back then, I trusted him like a brother. Now, every word he says feels like poison wrapped in politeness. I glance back at the ring. "Lena," I murmur, "did you know he called tonight?" The room answers only with silence. I remember the day we moved into our apartment. The walls were bare, the paint still smelled fresh. She twirled around the empty living room like a child. "Imagine this," she said. "Our couch here, our photos on that wall. Coffee every morning by the window. And arguments about rent and bills," I joked. She laughed. "You think too small? We'll have arguments about vacations and houseplants instead." We lay on the floor that night, staring at the ceiling. I told her I didn't care if the world fell apart. As long as she was beside me, she whispered, "Then don't let it fall apart." That promise haunts me now. The next morning, I wake up to gray light seeping through the curtains. My head throbs. My chest feels hollow. I pour coffee, bitter and black, and scroll through my phone. There's a photo, our photo, from 3 years ago. Lena's smile, my hand on her waist, the city skyline behind us. We looked unstoppable. I whispered to the image, "Where did we go wrong?" The doorbell rings. My pulse jumps. I open the door halfway, expecting maybe David or the landlord. Instead, it's a delivery guy holding a small white box. "Delivery for Ethan Blake." "Who's it from?" He checks the note. No sender. Just says, "Keep your promises." I sign, close the door, and place the box on the table. My stomach tightens. Inside is a silver keychain, our initials engraved. E+L. I sit down, gripping it hard. My chest burns. "Why now?" I whisper, "After everything?" The phone rings again. I don't want to answer, But I do. Ethan, Adrian's voice says. Smoother this time. Did you get something delivered? My blood runs cold. You sent it. He hesitates. No, but maybe you should talk to Lena. The hell does that mean? Just call her, he says softly. Before it's too late. The line cuts. I stand frozen, heart pounding, keychain in my fist. The rain starts again outside, tapping against the glass like it did the night I proposed. But this time, it doesn't sound like music. It sounds like warning. I whisper into the dark, the promise we made. It's already broken, isn't it? No one answers. Only the rain, steady, cold, and endless. The first sign was her silence. Hey, you okay? I asked one night, watching her stare at her phone. She looked up too quickly. Yeah, just tired. Tired. I said softly. You've been tired for weeks, Lena, she smiled. That same practiced smile that used to feel like sunlight. Work's been rough. Don't start worrying again. I'm not worrying, I said, though I was. I just miss you. You see me every day. Not really, I murmured. Not the you I used to know. Her eyes darted away. You're overthinking again, Ethan. Don't. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to. But something inside me already knew the truth. I wasn't ready to say out loud. Days blurred together. Messages unanswered. Calls missed. Excuses recycled. When I called at night, she'd say, "Can we talk tomorrow?" I'm exhausted. When I texted good morning, hours would pass before she replied, "Sorry, busy day ahead." Each word felt smaller, colder. David noticed before I said anything. "You look like hell," he told me over coffee. "Thanks, brother." Did she cheat? I almost choked. No, don't say that, he shrugged. Then why are you shaking every time your phone rings? I didn't answer. Because he was right. I was terrified of the truth ringing back. That Friday, she canceled dinner again. Deadline, she said. But when I checked her Instagram story later that night, I froze. A wine glass, candlelight, a man's hand across the table, familiar watch, silver band. Adrian, my heart stuttered. No, I whispered. It can't be. I threw on my jacket, keys trembling in my hand. The drive to his place was a blur. Red lights, wet roads. My pulse hammering louder than the rain. Outside his apartment, her car was there. The same blue hatchback she swore was in the shop. I stood by the curb, staring at it. My breath fogged the windshield as I leaned on the steering wheel, fighting the urge to scream. She's here, I whispered. With him, stepped out, rain soaking through my shirt in seconds. My hands shook as I climbed the stairs, every step heavier than the last. At his door, I hesitated. My finger hovered over the bell. Don't do it. You already know, but my hand disobeyed. I pressed it once, a muffled voice inside her voice. Laughter, then footsteps. My throat closed. I turned before the door opened, walking fast, pretending I hadn't been there. The elevator felt endless. When the doors finally opened to the empty lobby, I exhaled for the first time in minutes. Outside, the rain hit harder. I sat on the pavement beside my car, staring at nothing. Was I not enough? I whispered. Was I too boring? Too loyal? Too... me. No answer came. Just thunder. Back home, I dropped my keys on the floor and fell onto the couch. My phone buzzed. A message from her. Sorry, I passed out after work. Talk tomorrow. I laughed, bitter and hollow. After work, huh? I typed a reply, deleted it, typed again, deleted again. Nothing sounded right. Nothing would ever sound right again. Finally, I sent just one word. Okay. Then I threw the phone away and buried my face in my hands. The room was dark, except for the city lights bleeding through the curtains. I could still hear her laugh echoing in my head, the one from our rooftop night, the one I used to live for. I wanted to hate her. I tried, but all I could do was replay every memory. Every I love you, every forever, until the words turned meaningless. My chest ached like something was Physically breaking, I whispered to the empty room. You said I was your home? My voice cracked. So why did you leave? Tears came slow, unfamiliar. I hadn't cried in years, not since Mom's funeral. But now, they burned through me quiet, relentless. The next morning, I woke up on the couch, my face stiffed with dried tears. My phone blinked. 3 missed calls from her. I didn't answer. Instead, I scrolled through old photos. Her smile looked different now, even in the past. It was still beautiful, but now I could see it, the tiny lie tucked behind it. The smile she used when she wanted me to stop asking questions. I whispered, "You were already gone, weren't you?" Outside, the rain had stopped, but the air still smelled like it hadn't decided what to become. I sat there for a long time, watching the light shift across the floor, waiting for something, a message, a sign, maybe even a reason. Nothing came, only silence. The kind that tells you everything you were afraid to hear. I closed my eyes and said it out loud for the first time, not to her, but to myself. She's lying. The words tasted like rust, and even though I wanted to deny it, deep down I knew. That was the night I started losing her, piece by piece, smile by smile, lie by lie. I told myself I wouldn't go back. I told myself I'd let it go. But the truth, I said I'm by midnight. I was standing outside Adrian's apartment again, the same blue car parked in the same spot. Mocking me, I whispered, "If I don't see it, maybe it's not real." But I knew it was. The lights inside were on, curtains half closed, music low. Her favorite song. I climbed the stairs, every step heavier than the last. My heart pounded like it wanted out of my chest. When I reached the door, I didn't knock. I just listened, her laugh, his voice. The sound of glasses slickened. My hand shook on the doorknob. I could walk away, pretend I didn't know, save myself the pain. Instead, I twisted it. The door wasn't locked. It swung open, Ethan. Adrian's voice cracked mid-sentence. Lena froze on the couch, wine glass in her hand. No? She went pale, like all the color drained out of her face. For a few seconds, no one moved. The world just stopped. I stepped inside. "Don't stop on my account. I'd hate to interrupt." Adrian stood up fast. "This isn't what it looks like," I laughed. "That's what everyone says when it's exactly what it looks like," Lena whispered. "Ethan, please, please, what?" I snapped. "Please pretend I didn't see my fiancé with my best friend." "It's not what you think, then. Tell me," I said. "Make it make sense." Adrian stepped closer. "We didn't mean to hurt you." I turned to him slowly. "You didn't mean to? You meant something, Adrian? Was it love, lust, or was it just boredom?" He exhaled hard. "You were always so focused on work, man. You were never around." My voice rose. "Because I was building a life for us. For her. For you. I trusted you both," Lena whispered. "It just happened." "It just happened," I repeated, numb. "Like a storm you couldn't stop, right? You didn't even try?" Adrian rubbed the back of his neck. "You're overreacting, overreacting." I stepped forward, my voice breaking. "You kissed the woman I was going to marry in the home I helped you find. You lied to me for months, and you think I'm overreacting." He flinched. "Ethan, I don't say my name like we're still friends," I cut in. "We're not." Lena's voice shook. "Please don't do this here. Let's talk somewhere else." "Somewhere else?" I laughed bitterly. "What's left to say?" She stepped closer, tears welling. "I made a mistake." I shook my head. "A mistake is forgetting an anniversary, not falling into someone else's bed." Her eyes filled, but she didn't deny it. For the first time, I really saw her not the woman I loved, but a stranger wearing her face. "I gave you everything," I whispered. "You said I was your home." "I know," she said softly. "And I broke it. I'm sorry." "Sorry," I repeated. "You don't get to say that tonight." Adrian put his hands up. "Ethan, let's be adults. I barked. "You think sleeping with your best friend's fiancé makes you an adult?" His jaw tightened. "We didn't plan this. We just connected." "You connected," I said. "That's cute." I picked up the half-empty wine bottle from the table and hurled it against the wall. It shattered, red spilling down like blood. Lena jumped, crying now. "Stop, please." "I can't," I said, my voice shaking. "Because the moment I stop, it's real." Adrian reached for me. "Ethan, calm down." I shoved his hand away. "Don't touch me." He looked angry now, defensive. "You weren't there for her, man. You left her lonely." I froze. "Say that again?" "She needed someone," he said, his tone turning sharp. "You were too busy chasing your dreams to notice she was breaking." My chest heaved. "You don't get to use my dreams as an excuse to destroy mine?" Lena sobbed. "Stop it, both of you." I looked at her. "You could have told me. You could have ended it like a human being." She whispered I didn't know how. "No, you looked me in the eyes every day," I said. "You smiled. You said you loved me." She broke down completely. "I did love you then. Why him?" Her silence was louder than anything. Adrian stared at the floor, coward. I took a deep breath, forcing my voice steady. "You know what hurts most?" I wasn't even angry until now. I was just sad. No one spoke. The clock ticked in the background, slow and cruel. I looked at the ring on her finger. "Take it off." She froze. "Ethan, take it off." Her hands trembled as she slid it free and placed it on the table. It clinked against the glass. Small sound. Big ending. I stared at it. "Keep it, burn it." "I don't care anymore." Adrian muttered, "You'll regret walking away." I looked at him one last time. "I already regret meeting you." Then I turned to Lena. "You were my dream," I said quietly. "And now, you're the reason I don't believe in them anymore." She reached for me. "Ethan," I stepped back. "Don't." Her sob followed me to the door, but I didn't look back. Outside, the rain hit my face like needles. I didn't run. I just walked, one step at a time, until the city lights blurred through my tears. Behind me, I heard the faint echo of glass breaking again. Maybe she threw something. Maybe I imagined it. Didn't matter. Everything was already shattered. By the time I reached my car, I couldn't breathe. I leaned against the door, whispering to the night, "It's over." But even as I said it, part of me wished it wasn't, because love doesn't vanish in one night. It dies in pieces, scattered on the floor between two people who once swore forever. And tonight, I left mine there. The world didn't stop when mine did. Cars still moved. People still laughed. But inside me dashed nothing. Days blurred. Weeks slipped by like fog. I didn't count them anymore. Sometimes I'd walk the streets at midnight, aimless. No destination. Just noise in my head and silence around me. I whispered into the wind, "Mom, you'd know what to say, wouldn't you?" But she never answered. Just the same old emptiness echoing back. One night I ended up at the pier. The water was black, calm, endless. I stared at it and asked, was I not enough? Talking to ghosts again? A voice said behind me. I turned. Sophie stood there, scarf wrapped tight. Eyes soft but steady. "I didn't hear you walk up," I muttered. "You never do," she said gently. "You live too deep in your head." I tried to smile. "It's quieter there." "Quieter isn't always better." She moved beside me, resting her arms on the railing. "You look worse than last time." "Thanks," I said flatly. She ignored the sarcasm. "When was the last time you ate something that wasn't coffee or regret?" "I'm fine." "Sure," she said. "You look fine. Like someone auditioning for a ghost story." I sighed. "I didn't ask you to check on me." "I know," she said softly. "But someone has to." The wind pushed her hair across her face. She didn't move it. Just looked at me like she could see every thought I was trying to hide. "I can't stop thinking about her," I said finally. "Every night, it's the same loop. The look in her eyes, the sound of his voice. I replay it until I can't breathe." Sophie didn't interrupt. She just listened. That silence, safe, not judging. "I used to think love meant holding on," I whispered. "Now I think maybe it means knowing when to let go. But I can't." "Not yet," she said quietly. "You don't have to rush grief, Ethan. It's not a race." I laughed dryly. "Feels more like drowning." "Then stop fighting the current," she said. I looked at her. "What's that supposed to mean?" When you fall into the ocean, she said, eyes on the water, you don't survive by thrashing. You survive by floating. I don't know how to float anymore. You will, she said, but only when you stop blaming yourself. I looked away. You think this is guilt? I think it's pain pretending to be guilt, she replied. It's easier to hate yourself than to accept what happened. Her words cut deep. You sound like a therapist. Maybe, she said with a faint smile. Or maybe I've just been where you are. It caught me off guard. You, she nodded. Someone I loved once decided forever wasn't worth it. What did you do? I asked. I broke, she said. Then I learned to build myself again. How? She shrugged. By sitting in the silence until it didn't scare me anymore. I stared at the dark horizon. The city lights flickered behind us like memories I didn't want. I hate silence. Because it reminds you you're alone, she said. But maybe it's not loneliness. Maybe it's space, the kind that lets you breathe again. I looked at her. You really believe that? I do. Something in her voice, calm, honest, made me believe it for a second. We stood there a long while not talking. Just the sound of the waves, the wind, and our breaths sinking with the tide. I said quietly, I talk to her sometimes. My mom. She's gone, but it feels like she's listening. She probably is, Sophie said. What would she say if she were here? She smiled faintly. She'd probably say, "Get up, Ethan. Life doesn't wait for broken hearts." I laughed softly. Yeah, that sounds like her. Sophie stepped closer. You don't heal by forgetting, Ethan. You heal by accepting. The words hit harder than I expected. I felt them settle deep, like truth wrapped in kindness. I swallowed. And if I can't accept it, then I'll remind you, she said. Until you do. I turned to her. Why do you care so much? Because someone once cared for me when I didn't think I deserved it. Her eyes held mine, warm, grounded. The kind of look that didn't fix you, but made you believe fixing was possible, I said quietly. I don't know who I am without her. And find out, Sophie said. You might like what you see. The air between us felt different, not heavy anymore. Just real. For the first time in weeks, I breathed without it hurting. When she finally left, I stayed there, watching the ripples under the moonlight. The wind whispered through the railings. And I thought I heard my mother's voice again, softer this time, like she was proud. I whispered back, I'm trying, Mom. And for once that felt like enough. I thought I'd buried my anger. Turns out it was just waiting for air. It started with a phone call from Daniel, an old colleague. His voice shook when he said, Ethan, you need to see this. What is it? I asked, half asleep. Adrian's firm, the Skyline Tower project. Check the presentation online. I frowned. Why would I care about just look, he said, and hung up. I opened my laptop, clicked the link, and there it was, my design. My lines, my concept, the one I'd sketched a year ago for Lena's firm, the one I'd shown only to her and Adrian. My chest burned. They didn't, I whispered. Every detail screamed mine, the glass curvature, the vertical gardens, the lighting sequence. Even the damn tagline was the same. My hands shook. I dialed Daniel back. How long ago was this? Just announced, he said. Adrian's taking full credit. They're calling him a visionary. I laughed bitterly. Visionary, huh? More like a thief. Ethan, you can fight this legally. But no, I interrupted. Let them celebrate. I'm done fighting in court. I'll fight somewhere else. He hesitated. You sure? Absolutely, I said. They took my heart once. This time, they took my work. I'll take their piece. A week later, I walked into Heart & Cold Designs, the rival firm across town. Modern office. Clean lines. Quiet ambition humming in the air. The receptionist smiled. Mr. Blake, right? They're expecting you inside the boardroom. Miss Hart, the managing director, stood waiting. Ethan Blake, she said, offering her hand. Your portfolio speaks for itself. Why us? I met her eyes. Because because I want to build something that burns brighter than the people who tried to bury me. She tilted her head. That sounds personal. It is, I said, but I'll make it profitable. She smiled faintly. I like your confidence. You start Monday. That night, Sophie called. You're going back to work? Yeah, I said, scrolling through project drafts. It's time. She hesitated. You're doing this for yourself, right? Not for them? I'm doing it for both, I said quietly. For the man I was before them, and the man I'll become after. She sighed. Just don't lose yourself in revenge, Ethan. Already lost myself in love, I said. This is just me finding what's left. Monday came fast. I wore a crisp black suit, no tie, no emotion. People stared as I walked through the office. I heard whispers. That's him. The guy who left everything? I didn't care. I dove into designs, numbers, presentations. Every stroke of my pen felt sharper. Every plan, cleaner. I didn't sleep much, but for the first time, I didn't want to. Daniel visited once. You look different, he said. I am, I replied. Pain teaches discipline, he nodded slowly. What's your endgame? Winning, I said, but not the way they did. I'll make sure every success I earn reminds them what they lost. He chuckled nervously. You sound dangerous. Good, I said. Maybe they'll finally be afraid of something real. Weeks passed. I kept hearing about Adrian, new deals, magazine features. Lena smiling beside him in photos. Every image felt like salt on an old wound. But instead of bleeding, I sharpened. One evening, Sophie stopped by the office. She leaned on my desk, watching me sketch. You've been here 3 nights in a row, she said. Even machines rest, you know. I smiled faintly. Machines don't feel. That's not something to be proud of. I'm not proud, I said. I'm focused. She crossed her arms. And if this focus turns you into the same kind of man who hurt you, I looked up. Then I'll know I've gone too far. Until then, let me burn. You can't live off fire forever. Watch me, I said. 2 months later, Hart & Cole landed a major bid, the Ocean View Complex. A project bigger than anything I'd worked on before. When the announcement went public, I knew exactly who'd be watching. Lena called that evening. Her voice trembled. Ethan. Congratulations. Froze. How did you get this number? I asked Daniel, she said. I just wanted to say I'm proud of you. Don't be, I said coldly. You don't get to feel proud of the man you broke. She hesitated. You've changed. I had to, I said. Payne's a good architect. It redesigns everything. Ethan, it wasn't supposed to happen like that. Save it, I snapped. You made your choice. Now, I'm making mine. There was silence. Then she whispered, You sound like you hate me. I don't, I said. Hate means I still care. I'm just done. I hung up. My heart didn't race. My hands didn't shake. Just silence, peaceful, almost beautiful. Later that night, I stood by my office window, watching the city glow. Adrian's tower stood in the distance. Tall and proud, my stolen dream carved into steel. But for the first time, I didn't see loss. I saw a challenge. Sophie's voice echoed in my mind. You don't heal by forgetting. You heal by accepting. I smiled to myself. I accept, I murmured. But I don't forgive. As the city lights flickered across the glass, I felt it, not anger, not heartbreak, but purpose. The kind that doesn't scream. The kind that builds empires quietly. They took my heart, I whispered. Now, I'll take their peace. And this time, I meant it. Winning didn't feel like I imagined. No fireworks. No victory speeches. Just silence, the kind that hums after a storm when everything broken finally settles. The news broke early that morning. Hart & Cole secures $180 million Ocean View contract, beating Blake Rowe Designs. Adrian's name was buried halfway down the article. His photo-tight smile, weary eyes told the real story. Daniel called right after. You've seen it? Yeah, I said, sipping coffee. Hard to miss. He laughed. You're calm for a man who just beat his ex-boss and his ex-best friend in one blow. I don't need noise, I said. The numbers speak for me. Daniel chuckled. Remind me never to get on your bad side. You won't, I said. You're honest. By afternoon, my phone buzzed nonstop. Articles, comments, gossip. Adrian Blake accused of unethical design duplication. The Blakeliness scandal, love, and lies in architecture. They'd built their empire on charm and stolen dreams. And now, the cracks were showing. Sophie appeared at my office door. You're trending, she said, holding up her phone. I noticed. Adrian's firm lost investors, she added quietly. People are backing out fast. I leaned back in my chair. Karma's faster than I thought. She gave me that look, half proud, half worried. You're not smiling? There's nothing to smile about, I said. It's justice, not joy. She crossed her arms. Still feels like revenge. Met her eyes. Maybe it is. But I'm not the one swinging the sword. That evening, I got an invitation I didn't expect. The annual City Architecture Gala. The same event Lena once begged me to attend when we were still us. Back then, I skipped it because I said success didn't need an audience. Now I understood. Sometimes it does. The gala was gold and glass. Music floated like smoke. Cameras flashed everywhere. I walked in alone. Blacksuit.com eyes. Every head turned. Some whispered. Others smiled the way people smile when they finally see the underdog rise. Daniel spotted me. You actually came, he said, half grinning. Just passing through, I replied. Right, he said, smirking. And I'm just here for the appetizers. We both laughed quietly. Then the laughter died when the crowd shifted. They entered Adrian and Lena. Perfect posture, perfect smiles, perfectly fake. But even from across the hall, I could see it, the cracks. Whispers followed them like shadows. Is that her? Didn't he steal Ethan's design? They looked tense. Lena's eyes darted nervously. Adrian's jaw was tight. They looked like statues trying not to crumble. Daniel murmured, You good? Better than ever, I said. Lena saw me first. Her face froze. For a second, I saw guilt raw, unfiltered. Then she masked it with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Adrian followed her gaze and met mine. No words. No nod. Just a flicker fear, maybe? Or realization. He looked away first. I walked toward the balcony. Not to escape, but to breathe. Sophie joined me a few minutes later. You didn't even say hi, she said softly. I didn't need to. Ah! She tilted her head. Your silence said enough. Louder than anything I could have said, I replied. She smiled faintly. They looked. Small tonight. They made themselves small, I said. I just stopped standing beneath them. A waiter passed by. I took a glass of champagne, watching their reflection in the ballroom mirror. Adrian was trying to laugh too loudly. Lena was pretending to enjoy herself. But every time someone whispered, she flinched. I remembered her once saying, Reputation is everything. I guess she finally understood what it felt like to lose it. Daniel came over again. Reporters are talking about you, he said. They're calling it poetic justice. Poetic justice doesn't need a headline. So, what now? He asked. You've won. What's next? I looked out at the city lights. Now I build something real. Something that doesn't need revenge to stand. He nodded. You really are different now. Spain has good architects, I said. It redesigns you from the foundation. Before I left, Lena approached. Her steps were hesitant, her voice softer than I remembered. Ethan. I turned slowly. Lena, she swallowed. Congratulations. You deserve the win. Do I? I asked. She nodded weakly. You were always better. No, I said. Just honest. Her eyes glistened. I never meant to hurt you. You did anyway. Sorry, she whispered. I looked at her, really looked. The woman I once loved was still beautiful, but her shine was gone. I hope you find peace, I said. I don't think I ever will, she replied. Then that's your karma, I said quietly, and walked away. Outside, the night air was cold and clean. The city glittered beneath me, alive, indifferent, endless. Sophie joined me on the steps. It's done, isn't it? Yeah, I said. It's over. She smiled softly. You didn't need to destroy them. You just had to outgrow them. No, I said, exhaling. That's the real revenge. I looked up at the skyline, at my new world, my new name carved in glass and light. For the first time in a long time, I didn't see pain. I saw peace, and I realized silence can be louder than vengeance. The knock came just as the rain began. I stared at the door for a long time, hoping it was the wind. But it wasn't. The sound came again, soft, hesitant, trembling. When I opened the door, Lena stood there, soaked, shaking, eyes red as if she'd been crying for hours. Ethan, she whispered, her voice barely audible. I didn't say a word. My hand stayed on the doorframe, steady, cold. Please, she said, stepping inside before I could refuse. Just a minute. That's all I need. The air between us felt heavier than the storm outside. I could still remember the way she smelled, jasmine and rain. Some things don't fade, no matter how much you want them to. You shouldn't be here, I said finally. I know, she murmured. But I had nowhere else to go. Her voice cracked on the last word. And for a second, I saw the same girl who once promised me forever. What do you want, Lena? I asked. She looked at me, eyes full of something raw. Regret, maybe, or self-hate. I just wanted to say, I'm sorry. I almost laughed. Sorry. The word tasted bitter now. She nodded, tears spilling fast. Adrian's gone. He left when the company collapsed, took everything, and disappeared. I turned away, jaw tight. So now you remember what sorry means? No, it's not like that, she said quickly, moving closer. You were right, Ethan, about everything. He used me. He used your work. I was stupid. Stop. I raised a hand. You think admitting that fixes what you broke? No, she whispered. Nothing can fix it. She swallowed hard. I just need you to know that I never stopped loving you. The words hit harder than I wanted them to. My chest tightened, but I didn't move. Don't, I said quietly. Don't say that. But it's true, she insisted, her voice trembling. I think about you every day. Every damn day, Ethan. I looked at her. Rayleigh looked. Her beauty was still there, but dulled by guilt, by years of pretending. The glow that once lit every room we entered together was gone. Love, I asked. You call that love? You destroyed everything we had. I destroyed myself too, she said. You think I've been fine? You think I sleep at night without seeing your face? Her tears hit the floor, one after another. I wanted to feel anger, but all I felt was emptiness. You're late, Lena, I said. Too late. She reached out to touch my arm, but I stepped back. You can hate me, she said. I'd understand, but I needed you to know. I didn't choose him because he was better. I chose him because I was scared you'd leave me for your dreams. And then I lost both. For a moment, silence filled the room. Only the rain spoke. You don't get it, I said softly. You weren't my distraction. You were my reason. Everything I built, everything I wanted was because of you. Her breath caught. Then why can't you forgive me? Because forgiveness isn't the same as forgetting, I said. And I can't forget watching you break what we had. She pressed her hands to her face. I don't want you to forget. I just want you to understand. I do, I replied. More than you think. When she looked up, her mascara had run down her cheeks. Black streaks tracing the ruin of what we once were. I'll go, she whispered. I shouldn't have come. I didn't stop her. I didn't move. I just watched her walk to the door, trembling with every step. Before she opened it, she turned once more. I still love you, Ethan, even if you can't say it back. I know, I said quietly. That's the punishment you'll live with. The door closed behind her, and the sound lingered longer than I expected. I stood there, staring at the rain dripping down the window. trying to breathe through the weight pressing on my chest. That's when I heard a soft knock again. When I opened the door, it was Gracelina's sister. Her expression said everything before she even spoke. "She told me she came here," Grace said softly. "I just wanted to thank you for not shouting at her. She's been drowning in guilt for months." I sighed. She looked like it. "She's not the same, Ethan," Grace continued. "After Adrian left, she fell apart. It's like she's been trying to find pieces of herself in the ashes." "Maybe she should stop looking in the past," I said. Grace nodded sadly. "Maybe, but you were the best part of her past." I didn't know what to say, so I said nothing. "She still keeps your old letters," Grace added quietly. "Reads them every night." The words stung. I looked away, toward the rain. "Tell her. She doesn't owe me anything. Not even memories." Grace gave a faint, understanding smile. "That's not how love works, Ethan. It never stops owing." When she left, the silence returned, thick, familiar, almost comforting. I sat down, the sound of the storm fading slowly. For the first time, I realized I didn't hate Lena anymore. I didn't love her either. I just understood her, and somehow that felt like forgiveness. The phone rang early that morning, slicing through the quiet. I almost didn't answer, but something in me said I should. "Ethan Cole," a firm voice asked. "Yeah, who's this?" "Detective Harris, Central Bureau of Investigation. I need a few minutes of your time." I frowned. "Detective, about what?" "It's regarding Adrian Miles. I believe you were former business partners." The mention of his name tightened something in my chest. "Former? Yes. What's going on?" "I'd rather discuss this in person," Harris said. "Are you available today?" "Come by the office," I said, already feeling the old ache stir. Noon. By the time he arrived, I'd already poured myself 2 cups of coffee and gone through 5 minutes of pacing. He was tall, mid-40s, with sharp eyes that had seen too much. "Mr. Cole," he said, taking a seat. "Thank you for your time." "Let's skip the courtesy," I said. "What's this about, Adrian?" He opened a folder, slid a few printed pages across the table. Adrian Miles was under investigation for corporate fraud and data theft. The evidence links him to multiple illegal transactions, most notably the use of architectural data belonging to Cole and Rivers. My throat went dry. "You mean my firm?" He nodded. "Your former designs, to be precise. The ones filed before your resignation." I stared at the documents, my mind spinning. "He used my blueprints to win those contracts, didn't he?" "Yes," Harris said evenly. "He repackaged your original drafts under his own name. We confirmed through timestamps and internal correspondence." Laughed short, bitter. "So he didn't just steal my love. He stole my work." "Seems that way," Harris said quietly. The room felt too small suddenly. My voice dropped to a whisper. "How long did you know?" "We've been building the case for months," he replied. "We contacted you now because we found your digital signature on several designs tied to the fraud." I rubbed my temples. "And what happens now?" "He'll face prosecution," Harris said. "The firm he built will likely collapse under legal scrutiny. You'll be recognized as the rightful author of the original works." Recognition. The word should have meant something. But all I felt was empty. "Tell me," I said softly. Did he ever mention me?" Harris looked up. "Actually, yes. During interrogation, he said, and I quote, he was too busy chasing perfection. I just finished what he started." My stomach twisted. "Finished what I started?" I repeated, my voice trembling. "He finished me." Harris closed the folder. "I can imagine this is a lot to process." "No," I said flatly. "You can't." He nodded once, understanding enough to stay silent. After a moment, I exhaled. "You know what the worst part is, Detective? I spent months trying to beat him, trying to prove I was stronger. I built everything out of anger. And now that he's exposed, I don't feel victorious. I feel tired." Harris leaned forward slightly. "That's human, Mr. Cole. Justice doesn't always feel like closure." I met his eyes. "Then what does?" He hesitated. Acceptance, maybe, or peace. But that's not something a court can deliver. He left a card on my desk and stood. We'll keep you informed about the case. When the door closed behind him, I stared at the papers he'd left, proof of betrayal neatly typed in black and white. For years, I'd thought the wound came from love. But this was colder, sharper. It wasn't heartbreak. It was calculation. I whispered to the empty room. You took everything, Adrian. Even the part of me that believed in fairness. My phone buzzed against Sophie's name flashing on the screen. I answered quietly. You sound off, she said. Everything okay? Not really, I replied. Turns out Adrian wasn't just a thief of hearts. He was a thief of everything. What happened? I told her piece by piece. Every stolen file, every forged signature. She didn't interrupt, just listened. When I finished, there was a long silence. Then she said softly, So, you got your justice. Justice, I repeated. If you call this justice, what else would you call it? Emptiness, I said, because winning doesn't bring back what I lost. Sophie's voice was calm, gentle. Maybe that's because revenge was never supposed to heal you. Her words hit harder than I expected. So what was it supposed to do? Remind you who you were, she said. But now you know that man's gone. Maybe it's time to meet the new one. I leaned back, closing my eyes. You make it sound simple. It's not, she replied. But it's possible. Let the truth be the ending, not the chain. After she hung up, I sat there for a long time, staring at the rain streaking down the window. My reflection looked foreign, someone older, quieter, maybe even wiser, for the first time. I didn't feel the urge to fight back. The war inside me had burned out. I whispered to no one. They took my heart. I took their peace. But in the end, we all lost something, didn't we? Outside, the storm finally eased. The city lights glimmered on the wet streets, soft and distant, and for the first time in years, I didn't think about revenge. I thought about peace and how maybe, just maybe, it had been waiting for me all along. The morning air carried a soft chill as I walked through the old cemetery, a bouquet of white lilies in my hand. Dew clung to the grass, glimmering like tiny memories that refused to fade. I stopped in front of her stone. Hey, Mom, I whispered, kneeling down. It's been a while, silence answered back like it always did. Calm, patient, forgiving. I wish you'd seen me back then, I said quietly. You'd probably have slapped me for how much I let anger run my life. A faint laugh escaped my throat. But you were right, you know. You always said people don't heal by hurting others. I just didn't want to hear it. The wind moved through the trees, carrying the faint scent of earth and rain. I placed the flowers down. Adrian's gone. His empire, too. The world finally caught up with him. And Lena. I exhaled slowly. She's paying her own price. I don't hate her anymore. I can't. For a long moment, I just listened to the wind, the distant hum of the city, the quiet ache in my chest. Then I said softly, I used to think love dies when trust is broken, but it doesn't. It changes. It finds new places to live. Behind me, footsteps crunched the gravel. You always talk to her like she's listening, Sophie said gently. I smiled without turning. She probably is. She was always stubborn like that. She chuckled. So, did you tell her? Tell her what? That you're finally free, she said, coming to stand beside me. I looked up at her. The morning light caught in her hair, soft and golden. Free, I repeated, tasting the word. I think I am. You don't sound sure. I'm learning, I said with a small smile. After everything, I think peace feels unfamiliar. She nodded. Peace isn't loud. It's quiet. Sometimes too quiet. Guess I could use quiet for a while, I murmured. Sophie tilted her head. So what's next for you, Mr. Cole? I looked down at my hands. For years, they've built structures for others, symbols of ambition, pride, ego. Now they felt different. I'm starting over, I said. A small firm. Nothing flashy. just something real. Community spaces, local projects, buildings that actually mean something. Her eyes softened. You're serious? Completely, I said. I've already filed the papers. I even have a name. Oh, she asked, intrigued. What is it? Phoenix Designs. Rising from the ashes? Very poetic. I laughed. I thought it fit. Need a partner? She asked playfully. I looked at her. I was hoping you'd say that. Sophie grinned. Then it's official. I'll bring the coffee. You bring the blueprints. Deal, I said. For a while. We just stood there, two people who'd both been broken and somehow found each other in the aftermath, you know? She said softly. You're not the same man I met months ago. I hope not, I replied. That man was drowning, and now. Now, I said, glancing at my mother's grave, I think I'm learning how to breathe again. She slipped her hand into mine, not out of romance, but comfort. You've earned it, maybe I said. Or maybe I just stopped fighting myself. As we turned to leave, I looked back one last time. Thanks, Mom, I whispered, for teaching me how to love again, even from the other side. Sophie glanced at me. You okay? I nodded. Yeah, for the first time, I think I am. The sun broke through the clouds, spilling golden light over the headstones. Sophie said quietly, You ever think you'll love again? I thought about it, about all the ways love had burned and rebuilt me. Love doesn't die, I said finally. It just changes faces. Sometimes it looks like forgiveness. She smiled, her eyes soft. Then I guess you've already found it. Maybe I had. As we walked back toward the gates, the world felt lighter, not perfect, but peaceful. And for once I didn't need revenge, redemption, or recognition. All I needed was this quiet morning, her beside me, and the promise of something new.